Two of the most recognizable figures in the entertainment industry, Kirk Frost and Yung Joc, found themselves in a violent confrontation that has left fans stunned, and both men behind bars. It sounds like a movie plot, right? But this is real life. The explosive altercation, caught on camera and quickly leaked online, has sent shockwaves through the industry. I end this video. We're diving deep into what led to this shocking incident, how it all unfolded, and what it could mean for the future of both Kirk Frost and Yung Joc's careers. Trust me, you won't believe the details that are about to come to light. The entertainment world is no stranger to drama, but sometimes the line between what we see on screen and what happens off-screen gets dangerously blurred. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any crazier, this shocking video dropped, and suddenly everything changed. Kirk Frost and Yung Joc, both major players in the reality TV scene and longtime figures in hip-hop, are no strangers to controversy. But what happens when these two men, whose lives and careers have played out in the public eye for years, end up in an all-out brawl that leads to their arrest? A violent fight captured on video has rocked their fan bases and left everyone asking the same question: what really went down? In this video, we're breaking down the entire situation, from the tension that led up to the altercation, to the explosive moment it turned physical, and finally, the aftermath that has insiders and fans completely floored. We'll also explore what this means for their reputations, their careers, and whether this might just be the tip of the iceberg in a much larger scandal. Before the fight, there were already signs of tension between Kirk and Joc. While they've shared reality TV screens and moved in the same entertainment circles, their relationship has never been particularly smooth. Rumors of behind-the-scenes disagreements and quiet competition had been swirling for years. The first major red flag came during an interview Kirk gave a few months before the incident. In it, he expressed frustration with how the industry had changed and how certain people he once considered close, including Yung Joc, were moving in different directions. Was this frustration the spark that ignited the fire? Stay tuned, because we're unpacking every shocking detail next. On the flip side, Yung Joc has always had a reputation for speaking his mind. Known for his fiery personality and unfiltered opinions about the entertainment industry, he's never been one to shy away from confrontation. Over the years, Joc has had his fair share of public feuds and disagreements with fellow celebrities. He's not afraid to call out those he believes have wronged him or, in his eyes, acted disloyal, when Kirk Frost's comments about the industry, and indirectly about Joc, started circulating, it came as no surprise that tension between the two began to rise. While the general public wasn't fully aware of the brewing hostility, insiders knew that things behind the scenes weren't as cordial as they appeared. Whether it stemmed from professional jealousy, personal grievances, or a mix of both, one thing was certain: the relationship between Kirk Frost and Yung Joc was nearing a breaking point, and then it happened, a confrontation that would make headlines and shake both of their careers to the core. It was supposed to be just another night in the fast-paced world of celebrity and entertainment. But what unfolded became one of the most talked-about moments in recent memory. Kirk Frost and Yung Joc came face-to-face at a high-profile party in Atlanta, an event they were both attending for business and networking purposes. What should have been a night of celebration quickly turned sour the moment the two men entered the same space. According to multiple reports and eyewitness accounts, the tension between them was obvious from the start. At first, it appeared to be nothing more than a cold exchange of words, but as the night progressed, things grew increasingly tense. Eyewitnesses say Kirk and Joc ended up in a private corner of the room, locked in what looked like an intense conversation. Both men were standing close, gesturing aggressively, and trading verbal jabs. What started as a heated argument soon took a dark turn. Sources claim that Joc made a pointed remark about Kirk's career and personal life, a comment that hit a nerve, especially given Kirk's recent struggles in both his marriage and professional endeavors. Having already faced public scrutiny and controversy, Kirk was reportedly deeply triggered by Joc's harsh words. Feeling cornered and humiliated, he fired back with a scathing retort about Joc's career, bringing up past failures and missteps in the industry. At that point, it became clear this wasn't just an argument. It was a full-blown clash of egos with years of unresolved tension behind it. As their voices rose and body language became more aggressive, Witnesses described them as standing just inches apart, fists clenched, and eyes locked in fury. The room's energy shifted from awkward tension to something far more dangerous, and then it exploded. What followed was chaos. Shouting turned into shoving, and shoving turned into punches being thrown. In the middle of the confusion, someone in the crowd pulled out a phone and began recording. The footage that leaked afterward would send shockwaves through social media and the entertainment industry. But if you thought the fight was shocking, just wait until you hear what came next. In the midst of the chaos, someone in the crowd managed to pull out their phone and begin recording the violent exchange. This, of course, would become the pivotal moment that forever changed the course of the scandal. The video, which was later leaked to social media, sent shockwaves through the entertainment world via in the footage. Kirk Frost and Yung Joc can be seen exchanging harsh words, their faces inches apart as the tension builds. But things quickly escalate. The verbal insults turn physical when Kirk suddenly pushes Joc. Without hesitation, Joc responds by throwing a punch that lands squarely on Kirk's jaw. What followed was a rapid and brutal exchange, both men swinging wildly as their respective security teams and stunned partygoers scrambled to separate them. The video, though brief, captured every second of the explosive altercation. It was raw, intense, and undeniably real. Both men were visibly enraged, throwing punches with everything they had. It was immediately clear that this wasn't just a heat-of-the-moment misunderstanding. This was a culmination of long-standing personal and professional tensions, years of rivalry, frustration, and unresolved conflict all boiling over in front of dozens of witnesses and, thanks to social media, millions of viewers. The footage spread like wildfire across platforms, racking up millions of views within hours. Fans, fellow celebrities, and media outlets were stunned. Some expressed disbelief, unable to comprehend how two seasoned professionals who had worked within the same entertainment circles for years could let things escalate so far. Others were more sympathetic, recognizing the immense pressure public figures face and how such stress can lead to emotional outbursts. Still, the video left no room for speculation. It didn't just document a moment of violence, it captured a defining moment in both Kirk Frost and Yung Joc's careers. From now on, this incident would be a permanent part of their public narrative, but the fallout didn't end with viral outrage. In fact, it was only just beginning. Once the video gained traction, it didn't take long for law enforcement to get involved. While the initial backlash came from fans and critics online, the real consequences began when authorities launched an official investigation into the altercation. The video, combined with eyewitness accounts from the party, became key pieces of evidence in building the case. Within hours of the footage surfacing online, both Kirk Frost and Yung Joc were arrested and charged with assault and battery. The evidence was damning. Both men had clearly engaged in physical violence, and with the entire incident documented on camera, the legal system wasted no time. First, neither Kirk nor Joc made public statements. Their legal teams took over, signaling that this was no longer a matter of public image, it was now a serious legal situation. What had started as a verbal disagreement had spiraled into a full-blown criminal case, and both men were facing the very real possibility of jail time. The arrest marked a turning point. For two public figures who had built their brands on charisma, influence, and media savvy, this incident was nothing short of disastrous. The backlash was swift and brutal. Though both were granted bail shortly after their arrests, the damage had already been done. Public perception shifted overnight. In the eyes of many fans, Kirk and Yung Joc were no longer just entertainers or reality TV personalities. They had become cautionary tales. People questioned how two men who had achieved success in such a tough industry could let their personal issues spiral so far out of control. Social media became a battleground of opinions. Some fans defended them, saying fame and constant scrutiny can push anyone to their breaking point. Others, however, condemned their actions, emphasizing that public figures have a responsibility to set a better example. Many argued that they should have used their platforms to promote unity and growth, not public violence. Regardless of the varying opinions, one thing was clear. This incident had left a lasting impact on their reputations, their careers, and the industry as a whole. But the question remained, how would this altercation affect their careers moving forward? As the legal proceedings against Kirk Frost and Yung Joc continued, the professional fallout from the fight began to manifest in ways neither of them had anticipated. What started as a personal dispute between two men quickly turned into a public spectacle with far-reaching consequences, especially for their careers. And the entertainment industry, where personal branding is everything, an incident like this can either make or break a public figure. Both Kirk and Yung Joc were long-established personalities, particularly known for their roles on Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta, and various other projects. These reality shows rely heavily on their stars maintaining a certain level of public image, and this violent altercation only magnified the cracks that had already begun to show in their reputations. For Kirk Frost, the stakes were particularly high. He had already been through his share of public controversies, most notably his tumultuous relationship with his wife, Rashida. Their marriage, complete with its ups and downs, had played out on national television, and Kirk had spent years cultivating the image of a family man and responsible businessman. But his involvement in this public brawl painted a different picture, one that many fans found hard to reconcile with the man they thought they knew. The consequences came swiftly. Several key projects Kirk was involved in began to unravel. Brands that had partnered with him for endorsements and promotional deals pulled out almost immediately, citing concerns about his public image and the risk of further controversy. For reality TV stars like Kirk, these deals are a major source of income and credibility. With a fight video circulating online, advertisers were unwilling to be associated with someone at the center of such a violent public scandal. Yung Joc, on the other hand, faced a different but equally damaging set of challenges. Known for his outspoken nature and history of feuds, Joc had long walked a fine line between being the industry's outspoken bad boy and a respected public figure. But this fight crossed a line. It wasn't just another social media spat or war of words. It was a full-blown physical altercation, and the public was watching. Many of Joc's fans were shocked and disappointed. Despite his edgy persona, he had often spoken publicly about mental health and the importance of conflict resolution. To see him involved in such a violent incident raised questions about his sincerity and judgment. Sponsors that had previously supported Joc began to pull back, and even some of his music industry peers reportedly reconsidered their business relationships with him. The entertainment world also took notice. Several networks began reevaluating Joc's roles on current and upcoming shows. Producers and casting directors, wary of the controversy, started seeking safer alternatives. In an industry where perception is everything, aligning with someone involved in a public fight, especially one resulting in arrest, was seen as a potential liability. In the aftermath of the altercation and the growing legal drama, both Kirk Frost and Yung Joc faced a new challenge: the uphill battle to rebuild their careers and public images. In an industry where every misstep is magnified and one scandal can lead to permanent damage, redemption is a long and often difficult path. For Kirk Frost, the first step toward recovery was to take accountability. As the backlash intensified, Kirk made the calculated decision to address the situation head-on. He issued a public apology, acknowledging his role in the altercation and expressing regret over how the events had unfolded. Kirk Frost took the first step toward redemption by accepting responsibility for his actions. He posted a heartfelt message on his social media accounts, expressing regret for the altercation and admitting that his emotions had gotten the best of him. In a moment of frustration, he acknowledged that, as a public figure, he should have acted with more maturity and restraint. "I want to sincerely apologize to everyone who has supported me over the years," Kirk wrote in his post. "I let my emotions take control in a situation that should have never escalated to that point. I understand the disappointment many of you may feel, and I'm committed to making amends and being better moving forward. This incident is a wake-up call for me, and I'm taking steps to address my actions." While his apology was a positive first step, many fans and industry professionals remained skeptical. The real question was, could he truly change? Could he regain the trust of his fans and peers? Or was this simply too little, too late? Kirk knew that words alone wouldn't be enough. He began seeking professional help, attending anger management therapy, and focusing on self-improvement. He also made a conscious effort to be more present in his family life, emphasizing his commitment to Rashida and their children. By showing a more vulnerable, reflective side of himself, he hoped to rebuild trust and prove that he was genuinely working to evolve. Yung Joc's path to redemption, however, proved to be more complicated. While he, too, issued a public apology, Joc's reputation had long been tied to his brash, unapologetic persona. For years, he had thrived as hip-hop's bad boy, and controversy was almost expected of him. But this incident with Kirk Frost wasn't just another headline. It was physical violence, and it cast Joc in a far more serious light. Joc's initial response was defensive. He denied escalating the fight and claimed Kirk had provoked him. In early interviews, he downplayed the seriousness of the altercation, insisting it was just a misunderstanding. Initially, Yung Joc brushed off the altercation as a misunderstanding that simply got out of hand. But as public backlash intensified, it became clear that his casual approach wasn't working. Fans and critics alike weren't interested in hearing excuses. They wanted accountability. That's when Yung Joc made a bold move. He hired a reputable public relations firm to help repair his damaged image. His team quickly began working to reshape the narrative, focusing on his personal growth and his commitment to change. Joc started appearing on podcasts and in interviews, opening up about his past mistakes and explaining the steps he was taking to improve himself. "I've made some poor decisions in my life, and I'm not proud of the fight that happened," Joc admitted in a candid interview. "But I'm taking this time to reflect and learn from it. I've always prided myself on being transparent with my fans, and I want to be real about where I'm at in my journey. I know I've got work to do, but I'm committed to doing it." Despite his efforts, Joc's road to redemption would be far from easy. Some fans were quick to forgive, admiring his honesty and willingness to grow. Others remained skeptical, unsure if his transformation was genuine or simply a strategy to salvage his career. Still, Joc's attempts to rebuild his image and his openness about his struggles helped soften the impact of the scandal. Then came the rumors, whispers of an exclusive joint interview between Kirk Frost and Yung Joc. As the speculation spread, fans, media outlets, and even their most loyal supporters were on edge. Would this be the moment of redemption both men had been seeking? Or would it turn into yet another public relations disaster? Interviews like this were rare, especially involving two celebrities at the center of a high-profile controversy. People wanted to know, what would they say? Would they apologize publicly and make amends? Or would tensions boil over again? Anticipation reached fever pitch when the official announcement was made. The two stars would sit down with a respected, no-nonsense journalist known for her tough but fair interviews. The setting? A private, intimate location designed to encourage honesty and vulnerability. As the interview date approached, speculation ran wild. Would Kirk and Yung Joc finally bury the hatchet or reignite the feud? Fans across social media shared their hopes, anxiously awaiting a heartfelt, honest conversation. As the day of the highly anticipated interview arrived, emotions ran high. For some fans, it was the moment they had been waiting for, a conversation that would finally bring closure to a story that had captivated them for months. Others, however, remained skeptical, questioning whether the interview would be just another carefully crafted attempt at damage control. When both men arrived at the private venue, they looked tense but determined. Seated across from each other with cameras rolling, their expressions were a mix of nervousness and resolve. The interviewer, a respected journalist known for her direct yet fair approach, wasted no time. She dove straight into the heart of the matter, the fight that sparked the scandal. The tension in the room was palpable as she asked the first question. She wanted to know what led to the confrontation, what emotions fueled the altercation, and how both men felt in the aftermath. Kirk was the first to respond. His voice was calm, but there was a distinct note of regret. "Honestly, it was a mistake, a moment of pure frustration," he said. "We were both under a lot of pressure, and instead of handling things like adults, we let our egos take over. I can't excuse what happened, but I've learned from it. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not going to hide from it either." Yung Joc, sitting with his arms crossed, nodded in agreement. Then, Looking directly into the camera, his expression turned more serious than fans had seen in a long time. "I've made a lot of mistakes in my life," he said. "But this was something I never should have let happen. It wasn't just about me and Kirk. It was about everyone who supported me. I let them down, and I can't take that back." For a brief moment, the tension in the room eased. The sincerity in both men's voices caught even the most doubtful viewers off guard. But the interview was far from over, and the real test of their personal growth was just beginning. The next question from the host was one that had been on everyone's mind. How did they feel about the aftermath of the fight? The impact it had on their careers, relationships, and public image? Kirk answered first, his voice soft as he reflected on the consequences. "It hurt. It hurt me personally. It hurt my family. And it hurt my business. This industry is unforgiving. And once that video went viral, there was no going back. I've had to work harder than ever to prove that I'm more than just the guy in that video. I've spent the last few months focused on my family, trying to rebuild the trust one lost with my wife and kids. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I'm doing everything I can to fix them." Yung Joc, known for his tough exterior and outspoken persona, was noticeably more introspective. "I've always been the type to say whatever's on my mind," he admitted. "But this situation taught me that sometimes words aren't enough. I've done a lot of soul searching. The people who support me deserve better than what they saw. I want to show them I'm better than that fight, and I'm willing to put in the work to prove it." The honesty in their voices was undeniable. The sincerity in their voices was undeniable, and it seemed both men were genuinely taking responsibility for their actions. But the questions didn't stop there. The interviewer dug deeper, asking about their current relationship with each other. Were they truly on good terms now, or was this just a temporary ceasefire for the sake of the interview? Kirk and Joc shared a long look before Kirk responded. "We're getting there. It's not going to happen overnight, but we've talked, and we're working through it. We've both got a lot to reflect on, but we're not enemies. We're two men who made a mistake, and we're learning from it." Joc, looking more thoughtful than usual, added, "We're both grown men. I'm not here to keep beefing with anybody, especially not someone I've known for so long. We've got to move forward. If that means rebuilding a friendship, then so be it.